Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I am Patrick,
And I'm Paul. How's it going?
and we're back once again on another lovely, slightly warm in this tiny room Thursday. So if I start to melt, it's because of your audio pleasure. I cannot open that window because it's literally right there, and all you will hear is road traffic. So good to see you all. Let's hope I don't faint. Paul, how are you on this toasty evening?
I'm currently looking at my thermometer and it's currently 26.8 degrees in this room.
Somebody in the comments, please remember to we have to turn Paul over halfway through to make sure he gets cooked on both
Yeah.
sides. Paul, what are we doing tonight, man? What are we talking to these kind folks about?
Okay, so tonight we are going to be talking about animated and live action in two formats. One, would a live action film be better as a animated film? And two, what is it you can't do in live action that you could do in animated, or vice versa? I
Yeah.
think.
Well, actually,
So
we should call out this was a viewer suggested topic. So believe it was Ethan at the time had said, what about live action versus animated? Films. I think the specific one was live action films that should have been animated. And you know what? We're going to take some liberties. Thank you very much for supplying the topic. You can all like, share, and subscribe. And while you're doing that, comment down below and let us know future topics that you'd like to hear us babble on and ramble on about, and we'd love to take them on. What we're going to do for this one, as Paul called out, is really tear it apart from a few angles. And for me, Paul, the big thing here is live action or animated. It's not about which is better. That's no part of the discussion is going to be about. If it's better, there might be pros and cons mentioned, but they'll be about for specific reasons that you can do something in one that you can't do in the other. And I will kick us off by saying that some of the big barriers for me, one of the big barriers for live action can be if you get too fantastical with everyday situations. I think you're better off switching to animation. I think Fast and the Furious 9, for those of you who've seen it, is running that particular gauntlet right now that it probably, if it wanted to go as far as it did, it would have been more there would have been less cognitive dissonance if I'd been watching animation. Let's just put it that way. But you've got stuff like that, and you've also got in the other direction. It's very hard in animation if you've made, let's say, not a brilliant movie, for one actor to just stand up or step out and be the thing that makes that movie better. We've done episodes and talked about one actor's performance saving an entire movie just by the nature of how animation is created between actor, voice artist, etc., and animator. There's a little bit more in the soup being mixed around there. So it's there are many layers to all this. And Paul, I'm going to throw it back to you with the one thing that I know you're going to agree on. If you're going to have a lot of animals talking, it's probably a good idea to do animation.
yep, pretty much.
If all of your cast are animals and they're all going to be talking, maybe animation's the way to go.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna pick on too much of Disney's recent live action changeover to like they're going the opposite way to what we're currently talking about,
Yeah.
which is like they're going from animated to live action, and we could definitely tear those things apart.
Yeah.
But we're going in the opposite direction of going what animated, like what would be better animated,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, and also as you said, yeah, I don't understand it. I like this. Yeah, it seems like a real. But the thing is that weren't they animated? I haven't actually seen it. Aren't they like CGI animated?
They are CGI, but they went for
as realism as they possibly
yeah.
could
That's the
go.
thing. It's still it's called live action animation or whatever the hell. It's that blurring the lines. And you know
Okay.
what? I'll give you another one that's easier to talk about in that respect, and that's I have a little list here. I just threw a few films in as should have been animated, and I will get my joke ones out of the way first. Tommy Wiseau's The Room, because then you get to not have the bad acting and weirdly bad delivery of dialogue. I think because artists and animators are so talented, they can almost paint over that a little bit. Whereas if you just have him badly acting on a badly shot scene, nobody's there to help. Whereas at least animators after the fact can go, we'll see if we can take some of the focus off how bad this voice acting is right now. Or in Tommy Wiseau's case, just the acting. So yeah, it could have worked. You never know. As an animation, maybe it would have been a better movie.
All I can think of, because I haven't actually seen The Room, and I know that I'll probably get
I've never seen all of it.
About
I've seen so much of it in so many sections.
So that's the thing. So have I. So like, I'm wondering if it's just from the parts that I've seen. If an animated version came out, would it just be the film rotoscoped or something like that? You know,
A Scanner
Just like-
Darkly, maybe.
yeah, just like Scanner Darkly. It's just like it's pretty much the same thing.
Mm.
You know, just animated. Yeah, that would have been a weird one.
That would have been a
to
weird
be
one.
animated. Though I guess, yeah, as you said, it probably would make a lot more sense.
Well, I was
As in-
more throwing that gentle but joshing dig in at them as sometimes maybe your live action film shouldn't have been made at all. So maybe you would have been better
Yeah.
off giving some of the skills over to the animation people who will make up for your lack thereof.
Well, that's what I more mean. As in, like, it's understandable in the sense that because of your bad acting, that the animation probably would do the heavy lifting rather than your weird acting. I don't know why I did that.
I'm leaving it out there, dude. I'm leaving it out there. And I'm seeing people joining our comment section. I just want to say hi to Gavin, hi to Irish. Welcome to everybody that's joining us. A couple of great commenters in those two right there. Not just live, but also on our after the fact recorded videos. So thank you very much for the support. We really do appreciate it. I can see there's already a dig at The Lion King, which we gently, subtly made. Animation allows you to move into more disbelief easier than live action. Absolutely. And that's where the fantastical nature of things works sometimes better in animation. And I've got another example of that. Do you know what should have been animated, Paul? Howard the
Us?
Duck.
Oh,
Howard the Duck.
no, that's true.
One of the great big flops back then. And when you think about it now, why they didn't actually just throw half the budget to try and make a decent animated movie for that property, they could have, instead of having one of the all-time great flops, they could have had a surprise hit in their hands.
Yeah, I could definitely see that kind of working because it would have been on the same styles as like Cool World or something like that. Ignoring Brad Pitt's involvement in it, but you know, it could have been more. Yeah, it could have been adults kind of animation thing like Mr. Boogie kind of thing. It's an adult animation. I say
Okay.
adults, and it makes it sound like it's hentai or porn.
Well, Paul, look, you're the anime dude here, so I'm not going to judge you for what you watch in the morning or what you watch at night, man. It's all equal.
It's all porn at morning and all normal stuff at the no. Which could, yeah, I get you. No, it's more kind of like adult content, like the new Harley Quinn kind of stuff. Level of kind of new animation, or more adult kind of animation thing. I think Howard the Duck actually probably would have worked better, yeah, because also we wouldn't have gotten one of the worst gross scenes in the world.
You have to
which
share
one
with
I'm
the
talking
people now. Share with the people.
Oh, Howard Duck having sex with a human woman. Have a puppet, essentially, having sex with a woman.
And this was pre-South Park days, before Matt and Trey ever thought of what can we do with a marionette. Paul, the one I was building up to kick it over to you for what you're kind of, they really should have probably animated it. I just had to say it. Cats. The movie Cats recently, when you consider taking a stage musical, that if they'd just done the stage musical as a movie, could have worked. But what they tried to was live action animate, whatever the right phrase is for what they came up with. If they'd just taken the musical format and decided, you know what, we're going to put money into making Cats, the musical, as an animated movie, like a real, budgeted animated movie. You've got music there, isn't there a great history with all this kind of stuff? Isn't Fievel little somewhere out there singing Mouse Dude? American Tail, was that American Tail?
Yeah, American Tales. Yeah,
there's you can make that work, and I guess it's hindsight is always 2020. Cats didn't work because it creeped people out, among other things. It wouldn't have had that happen to it if you were going to move away from the format that worked and not just do actual full live action with costume. Then you should have gone full the other way and done animation. The halfway house can go very, very wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I get you. My only problem with, I think the source material for Cats is already weird enough.
This is
that
true.
I don't think, because even going to the play and seeing people in leotards and like looking like cats and stuff like that. It's not far off. It's not far off the movie too much. It's just that they've really downsized people and then just to, like, exaggerated the features of a cat on a human face. So like, I think the source material is already a little bit weird, but I do agree. Yeah, it like lead into the whole thing and just go animated and really go for it.
I've just realized I pulled up. I'm sharing a browser screen so that we can start showing some imagery of just what we're talking about here. Because if you haven't seen what we mean by cats, it's genuinely unsettling, I think is the right way to put it.
Yeah, as I said, they really exaggerate the human feline featurettes kind of thing, which is weird. You know, like,
which and I can't believe I missed my chance when we were talking about The Room to go. Let's see what we'll find that.
Are you gonna like the Room animated or something?
Well, no, I want to show one of his perform. There we go. That is the man right there acting his heart out. Paul, it's essentially Tommy Wiseau on what is a really badly color graded scene.
Okay.
Imagine how much better that would be having not been made at all or animated. You know,
Yeah.
I'm about to do the old I rest my case.
Does the prosecution have anything? No. Yeah. No. I definitely understand where you're coming from in the sense of like, yeah, the Room might have perfected a little bit more around the edges and stuff like that. But yeah, cats. As I said, I think the source material is already weird enough that like you go into kind of you go into morphing half people faces into feline features, and it just goes weird.
Yeah.
So
and I realized that a lot of people will not be old enough to remember Howard the Duck the movie. Yeah, it's actually unsettling now. It's bringing back memories looking at it too. Another huge mistake. Thankfully, I don't have any good specific reference pictures. Actually, there's one that's not far off, and I'm not gonna dwell on that for anybody who's watching. But yeah, so Anyway, right, Paul, hit me with something that you think would have worked better.
Okay. It's slightly annoying because Irish got one of mine already.
Oh,
so,
hit me with the comments. Hit me with the comments.
So Irish, thank you, because like there's one from last week, I think, that we were talking about as well. That's also on my list. But Dark City, I think would have been fantastic as an animated thing.
Alex Proyas's follow up after The Crow. I have a big soft spot for that movie. So I really enjoyed its live action telling, but I completely see where you're all going.
Yeah, I think the whole kind of morphing of the city and stuff like that, and some of the abilities that the Watchers kind of had would have been really cool.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that would have been a pretty cool movie animated, but I won't go on it too much because it feels like I'm stealing now Irish. But
well,
Irish
no, look, Irish, you're practically part of the show. So you're the third chair here because you do think what we're thinking quite often, and unfortunately articulate it better than we do, quite often also. I'm trying to find a good Dark City image to kind of, well, here you go. Not massive, but you get the picture. Yeah. There's no city folds or anything there, but I think it's definitely a good shout.
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting kind of one to do as an animated series. So yeah, or as an animated movie. My other one, which is one that we talked about last week, which was Dune.
Oh, okay.
Like, no, this is in no way like my thoughts on what the new live action movie is going to be like or anything like that. But if you were, because I haven't seen it, I'm basing it off not have seen the animated kind of or the new live action. But I think that Dune would have been a really good animated film because I think it would be able to stretch its legs, and as we've seen in the comments, that like you're able to essentially stretch reality, and people are able to get to suspend their disbelief a little bit more easier. And I think Dune needs that in the sense that there's a lot of information that's going to be thrown out at people, and not a lot is going to be not a lot is going to be overly explained. You know,
True. True.
and I think
Yeah, no, and I think it hits that kind of it's massively epic. So sometimes you're going to want to be able to stretch yourself into as a as the storytelling goes on, stretch yourself quickly into the fantastical, like this super fantastical. I mean, it's all fiction, but into the actual fantastical end of things, and making that crossover in a live action visual can be a little more clunky than doing it in pure animation.
like I definitely agree because like the David Lynch kind of one is very difficult to get into and stuff like that, and it's just I think it's just because it's very 80s in the sense it's very 80s like it's not bad. I'm not gonna the story gets a little bit lost and they do like kind of like play with certain things but it's it's just because it's hampered by it's 80ness kind
Yeah,
of thing, whereas I think an animated version of it in the 80s even would have been an amazing kind of thing. And as I said, this is not in any way telling towards the new live action kind of film, because I could turn around when I see it and just be like, yeah, we don't need an animated movie anymore. We the one that they did was great. But yeah, I think it would be really good when animated. Do you want to know another one, which is more of a joke one?
please
Most of
do.
mine, most of mine are sci-fi, but this one's also. I also the prequels in Star Wars would have been good as animated, because the Star Wars animated universe is far superior to the prequels.
This is something that I have heard said many a time by many a person. I'm tending to believe it without having watched every single bit. I've seen enough to know that it seems to be likely true. So yeah, yeah.
That's
Can
more
we
of a
can we
jokey
beat
one.
hard on the prequels so soon after beating hard on them? Yes, I
Yeah,
still
I
think
know.
we can.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's a
yeah, sorry, I'm distracted by the comments. There's some great stuff in here, and yeah, you're right. We people think the way we do. Our commenters are nailing it here. I think Mad Max wouldn't be a bad crossover into animation. Kevin, that's an interesting one. Particularly, I think there's some value there for me in the whole. Sometimes you can have both. You can have a live action movie, maybe Spawn, like Star Wars did, animated properties. I think there would be good lower cost storytelling to be had in fully and highly stylized animation for Mad Max. Like, I think there's a lot to do and tell in, and I'm talking about the original, the original trilogy all the way to Thunderdome, but even the newer
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, and actually, I could be saying this. I should probably have googled that. Maybe somebody already has done extended universe stuff with Mad Max and animation. I just don't know about it.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely like thinking about it more and more. I do think that a stylized kind of Mad Max thing would like a stylized animated Mad Max thing would be really good. And
Yeah,
yeah, I actually don't know. You could be complete. I don't think there is though. As far as I know, there's no animated
I assume we
or
would
there's
have
no
heard of it.
extended.
I used to think of us as people in the know, but with so much content out there now, I always assume that something, if we have a good idea or somebody else does, I assume that somebody may have made it and put it on the 50 millionth streaming service by now.
Or TM if we haven't.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
true.
haven't
Actually.
extended if you haven't extended the Mad Max universe in animated form, TM.
Just us and the commenters that are joining us, because we have to share that now. Um, I watch Cats as punishment for my past mistakes, says Irish. Yeah, that's pretty much what Cat's role should probably be now. Um, Gavin says, I'm pretty sure we could convince Tommy Wiseau to do an animated version. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take a whole lot of convincing to get him to do anything that could involve him and his ego. I shouldn't give the guy such a hard time. Fair play to him. I'm all ego and two legs myself. Um, I actually thought the Howard Duck cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy looked like a cartoon, ironically. Yeah, it was interesting because they went for the gaunt kind of sarky, more comic styled Howard the Duck rather than the rather paunchy animatronic person in a suit, whatever they did the first time around.
Yeah, the puppeteer kind of one. Yeah,
Mm.
they definitely use more CGI in that. and I definitely understand why, because it's a lot easier to do that than it would be to break out that puppet,
It's true.
spray it down with disinfectants, and then
Do you know there's another direction to go, and that's what wouldn't work as live action that's animated. And obviously, you can say that, but then it's like it sounds like a stupid question because how are you going to do live action version of Toy Story? It suits digital animation very much, but you know what? You know what's just got really people in it? Okay, and the odd talking animal. Up. Up is one of those movies that, on the face of it, just doing the math, you could be like, oh, you could do a live action version of that. I don't think it would ever work because you'd lose the charm, obviously, without having the sweet relationships. But can you imagine a live action opening montage for Up? It would cease to be just moving and tough, and I think it would come across as incredibly dark and cruel watching somebody age and lose their loved one. It would become, even if you told the exact same story and used the exact same shots, if you tried to make a live action version of Up, you would stop after the intro. Before you had a talking dog, before you had a floating house, before you had anything that you couldn't just shoot with a couple of actors in the camera, you would go, this is no longer going to be a family film. This is dark and it is scarring.
Yeah, actually, if you think about it more and more, because it's they go to a kid essentially gets kidnapped, not essentially, but kid gets like not only is it just the opening thing is pretty bad and kind of setting the tone and stuff like that, but yeah, the further you go along that line, it can get pretty bad.
Well, do you want to shoot to, because for those of you who haven't seen Up, the opening sequence is somebody meeting the love of their life as a child, those children having fun together, growing up, doing things, sharing experiences, sharing life, and aging. And you could easily shoot that with actors. There's nothing there that's in any way technically difficult. You could almost reproduce it with the right set designers. You could reproduce it very, very closely and color grade the hell out of it, even if you wanted to give it the cartoonish feel. No matter what you would do, it would never take the dark edge off it. Animation has a special silk in its glove that it can hit you really hard, and you'll take it that little bit more. And I think you touched on this a few weeks ago when you were talking about The Boys, where sometimes in comics things will be that much more graphic or that much more harsh because they can, and it's an attention getter or a scene setter or whatever, and that works in that format. But you would never do it in a live action format, or even in some case, in the case of comics, you wouldn't do it in an animated format if you were coming away from the still page.
Yeah. Pretty much. Again, this is a level of realism there's a level of grotesqueness or darkness that you could never properly, but you can, but
do you really wanna?
I don't know how well that'll go down, kind of thing. Which is, I was thinking of a bunch of films, like an entire bunch of films that might work as live action, and so would succeed the kind of current live action versions.
Okay, hit me.
The entire DC universe that's currently out there is live action. If you just remade all of the animated things as live action, it would be so much better.
And the huge advantage to that is proven by the better of the DC movies and the good MCU movies that, you can adapt directly. And you can even deal with talking animals. Because let's face it, Rocket Raccoon works as charm, and so does Groot the Talking Tree. And, there's probably something else really obvious that I'm forgetting. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good shout. Actually, I want to say it before you do. My real rest of my case, my real end game on all this, pun half intended, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There's something that when you consider, can you do live action Spider-Man? You can do it really well, that's been proven. Can you do multiverse stuff in live action? Yes you can. So could you have done 75% of Into the Spider-Verse live action and got away with it. Yes, it would have been a challenge to pull off the same style, but when you get to the point where you want to have essentially what is, the Porky Pig version of Spider-Man, Spider-Ham, interacting with Andrew Garfield. So, you can bring your different live action Spider-Men together.
Yeah.
You get Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland and, other dude whose name is now escaping me. Original Spider-Man.
Oh, Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. So you can Spider-Verse this together, get Emma Stone or somebody to be Spider-Gwen. You can even do Robot and I cannot remember the name of the child. But you can take them all in. You could even get Nicolas Cage, monochrome him, and get Spider-Man Noir in there. But the minute you have a full animated Roger Rabbit moment with your Spider-Ham, Peter Porker, it's going to be tough. In fact, I should pull that up on screen, try and pull them up. Now, thing is, I'm saying this knowing that they may well try this in the future, and I would be really interested to see that group of talented people pull off something that daring.
No way. Yeah, that could. Yeah, see, Marvel's has the kind of group that definitely could probably pull it off. So, I'm interested in one question that's a follow up to that. Who would you get as, Spider-Gwen? Who would you cast as Spider-Gwen? So I'll let you think about it. Who would you cast as Aunt May?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Who's your so are we doing an Into the Spider-Verse where it's Miles Morales, right?
Yeah. Because I don't know, I'm wondering who I would have as Miles Morales, actually.
Well, like everybody wants to go back in time and have Donald Glover do it, but that ship,
oh man,
it has sailed. It has sailed quite a ways. Actually, and just for the people on screen, there's your noir. You've got people that you can pull off, but try and put here. This might be better. I'm trying to find a bigger image. If I do this, it's not really going to work. Actually, that'll work. Here you go. You've really got to wonder. Oh, yeah. No, sorry, my brain went off me being live on air and thought they're going to do this, and then I'm going to look really, really silly because they're going to pull this off completely, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it was easy after all if you're just smarter than me. I would get Emma Stone or somebody to do Spider-Gwen just to keep that universe, pull somebody. Who has anybody else played Gwen Stacy? Was Bryce Dallas Howard? Was she Gwen too? She was, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. So
in the Tobey Maguire one.
In the Tobey Maguire one, yeah. But she'll be too busy running away from dinosaurs, so Emma Stone can do it.
So who would you have as Aunt May? That's probably
Marissa Tomei is such a great call, but you know what? Do I have to pick somebody that hasn't done it? Because Sally Field is great for me. Sally Field is just loving and warm and such a great Aunt May kind of depiction that I'm like, yeah, she's my Aunt May in a lot of ways.
I get you.
What about you?
Jane Krasinski? She's from Malcolm in the Middle.
The mother from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah. I butchered her name.
Watch me type this live on air, people.
I think she would be a good Aunt May.
And I'm having difficulty typing around there you go. This lady. You think she'd be a good Aunt May?
I think she would.
You know what? I kind of get it. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I think she'd be. I think she'd be a good Aunt May.
I fear that we've taken a slight detour, and I'm gonna try and bring us back from casting Spider-Verse stuff.
Yes, sorry.
Folks,
bring it back to animated.
I'm gonna throw back to the comments and check in. So what have we got? Moana could work in live action. Still haven't seen Moana. I know, and I actually promised that I would.
Wow, you really should. That's a really good show.
I know, and I think I promised twice on this channel in the last 6 months that I get around to it, but I'm very bad at that. If somebody had suggested Disney meeting, we would have got the we wouldn't have got the Lion King. Yeah. Any comments you want to pick out there, Paul?
I think a movie that would have been received better if it was animated later in the water. I think people enjoyed the ride more. Yeah,
That's a good
I
call,
agree.
actually.
Never. Yeah, I also agree. Never touch Nightmare Before Christmas. Don't touch it. There's no point. Don't make it live action. Don't do anything like that. Because the only person I know that would try to make it live action is Tim Burton. I'm sick of watching. I'm sick of watching like Tim Burton's stuff go downhill. You know.
Do I sense a topic in our future of the rise and fall of one Timothy J. Burton? I'm assuming it's Timothy and J. I have no idea if Tim Burton's full name is just Tim,
Yeah, like yeah,
and
I think
everything
so.
is J since Homer.
Like it's also in fairness, like Nightmare Before. I think Nightmare Before Christmas wasn't directed by him, but it was like he produced it. It was like heavy handed in the creation of it, but I don't think he directed it.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's one of
It's
those
called
facts
Tim
where it's like,
Burton's. Yeah, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but he didn't actually direct it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that might well be the case. Um, I think that's Ethan joining us. By the way, Ethan, we're doing one of your topics.
yeah,
So enjoy watching the recording back and watching us deviate from what you actually asked, as is our way. There's a funny
badly.
little detour about 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago where we just start casting Spider Man into the Spider Verse. Don't know why, but we do this sort of thing here.
Hey, listen, we go off on tangents.
It's true.
Um,
Speaking of bringing us back from tangents, almost segue from me there. Do you have a take on if there's one thing that you would say, just looking at something to go, all right, I'm looking at a checklist of this could work as an animated movie or this won't work as an animated movie? Because I already gave you if you want to have all your characters be animals and speak, then animate. Don't do
yeah,
peanut butter and voiceover. Old dog
yeah,
style stuff. This isn't Mr. Ed anymore.
the PG monkeys.
Exactly. What would your checklist in the other way be going? If you're going to do this sort of thing, or it contains that, then maybe don't go animated. So what's the stuff that you feel shouldn't go animated?
Oh, see, that's real difficult because, like, drama. I guess, yeah, costume drama. Don't do that in animated.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's more. I think it's more that it would be. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. I think if you just sat down to watch an animated like costume drama, you'd be questioning who it's for. Because you'd probably already alienate the majority of your audience if they were costume drama fans by making it animated. But people who like animated would also be kind of sitting there going like, "Why did you do this
Yeah,
animated?" You know, you know what I mean.
I absolutely do actually.
I think there's a genre there that just like if there was no action in it or anything like that, no proper like if you were to do Downton Abbey as an animated
It would defeat the
show.
purpose.
I think it would be lazy in the sense, not towards the animators in any way, but I think it would be lazy
You're,
if,
just as you said that, Irish shot in. So you're saying no animated spin-off of Downton Abbey then, just
yeah,
as you were saying it. So yeah,
like I
that's
think it's
pretty
just, I
much
think
it.
it's just, yeah, I think it's just it's a wasted effort in the sense that you alienate half your audience one way or the other,
Yeah,
kind of thing. But thinking about that, oh damn it, I had it in my head. Oh, do you know what'd be really good as an animated film? That is the live action actually. Which goes Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Those two would have been great as animated ones.
and could coexist with their live-action counterparts. To be fair,
Oh, easily so.
that's the other thing. Some of these can work just in both. But yeah, there are some things that lend themselves nicely to it. Do you know what doesn't actually though? Because you made me think of it when you were talking about Downton Abbey. And not that I'm connecting it to being one of my favorite films of all time, because it's not. I liked it, but it's not there. One of my favorite films, my favorite film when I'm really pressed, if I don't shed Jaws or accidentally say something else first, 12 Angry Men. You don't necessarily want, and it's not that animation can't do it, but if you're going to have wide shots with multiple people building an atmosphere in an actual physical room, I don't think there's a benefit to animation. I think you have to tell a slightly different story at that point, or tell the same story in a very different way. So if you watch something like 12 Angry Men, the way you can convey heat and claustrophobia is done in camera with situational setup, whereas animation will tend to have to lean on showing a bead of sweat or more visual cues. So sometimes I think just as much as it works better where you have a visual, or like we were talking a bit earlier, if you want to go from the fiction to the fantastic, animation's great. If you're going the other direction where you want to make it purely a human story, let's say, particularly interactions of larger groups, and when I say larger, I mean, 3 or 4 plus characters sharing a space and sharing a scene. I think that's where animation can struggle, because what you have to do to convey your story is just that much more difficult in animation.
Yeah, I'd agree there. I'd agree that this is a level of difficulty that kind of I think that's kind of probably the connection element of live action, in the sense that you're looking at humans without any kind of there's no alterations or anything like that, so you can connect a little bit easier. Whereas, as we said, suspending your disbelief in an animated thing is kind of natural. I think, suspending your disbelief a little bit more in an animated, I think, is a little easier and automatic. Whereas in live action, I think you connect with the humans because they're more because they're there's no alterations or anything. There's just a natural connection there, and I think that's why certain serious subjects would not bode well in the animated kind of region.
Yeah. This could literally go on all night, but I'm going to throw over to one comment from the person that actually had suggested this, which again, thank you very much. The Pixar Story documentary, but animated. Now, I haven't seen the Pixar Story, and I imagine that's probably quite a good doc, stretching back to the origins of Pixar and all their successes. But actually animating that would have been an interesting take on it. Showing their history using what they popularized, digital animation. That would be very, very interesting. I think sometimes when it comes to documentary, though, it is about the actual footage of a time and a place. So, yeah. But if you don't have the time and the place, and you're doing a historical documentary, how often has animation been the thing to step in and go, we can't show you exactly what feudal Japan was like, but animation can do a kick-ass job conveying what you need to know.
Yeah.
You've gone blurry. There you go. Oh, you're back. You're good. Sharp as a pin, my friend.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I definitely get the fact that history. I think there's a TV show, an old TV history show, where they used to do old historical battles, but they used to ask people to essentially set up they used to get an army, and they used to set up where their army would start, and then they would animate the battle as if it was happening. And I think animation only works in the sense that we can't. There's no point in dressing up thousands of people in Roman stuff when you can just animate it.
It's true.
Get the point across.
It's true. Paul, I'm about ready to walk us out of this one, because I don't think anybody's going to beat Indy 4. Would have been amazing animated, smiley face. Yeah, it would have, because then we could have used the eraser or the digital delete button.
I also think, once again, the whole suspension of disbelief a little bit easier in animated, you'd probably be okay with that fridge.
Yeah. Well, actually, and that brings me back full circle to the start. Fast and the Furious 9, in a very quick review, you know what? I gave those guys all the leeway they ever needed. I'm not their biggest fan. I'm not their biggest detractor. But they've done that thing where they push too far. And sometimes, if you're going to use live action, if you stretch things so far, so frequently, and so flagrantly, you would have been better off doing animation, because then it just would be, it'd be fun. It'd be Initial D. It'd be whatever it is. Yeah. And actually, you know, animation wouldn't have saved the fridge. Well, it wouldn't have saved Indy 4. Nothing can save the Crystal Skull, but apparently Aliens and the kid from Transformers.
I guess. Oh, Fury. Fury animated would be hilarious. How awful would that be?
Fury, Brad Pitt in a tank.
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. You know what? Actually, given the right animators and the right style, you could really make that a wonderful dark animation. What a movie! By the way, that's probably the greatest recommendation Paul gave to me since we started this channel. He said you better go and watch Fury, and I did. And straight away I was like, I cannot believe I missed out on seeing that movie. So if you haven't watched Fury, watch Fury. Pretty simple. It's an equation.
It is an emotional roller coaster. Quite a hard hitting emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, actually, I'll only watch it if you're ready to watch it. I should probably caveat that with. Yeah. So Paul, give us.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of I think animated is one of those kind of like I think it has its place. It's in like it doesn't really fit all the bills and stuff like that. But there's, I guess, the things that we're more used to it in a fantastical point of view makes it easier to kind of translate from live action to animated and vice versa, in the sense that like as long as it's within a fantastical or sci-fi kind of element, I think it'd be a lot easier. Like I think I just saw Gavin this message saying that the Assassin's Creed thing would probably be better animated.
Oh, it was the Kill Bill Assassins, he said, but yeah, I can see why you thought that. Yeah.
Kind of thing. So just before we wrap up, what is it that what is it that you can do in animated and you can't do in live action and vice versa? What do you think is like the major tells of those kind of things? Is there like, because I have one film that I know would never work in live action that is animated, and that's the Mitchells versus the Machines, or is it Mitchells versus the Robots?
That's the one that recently showed up on Netflix, right? Yeah,
yes,
I haven't watched that yet.
Mitchells versus, that is a very stylized. I think it's on the same level as the Spider-Verse thing. I think it's very stylized. The color palettes, the craziness, and stuff like that. You could never translate that over to live action. Nor should you in any kind of way. I think there is a layer of kind of animation that just allows you to kind of stretch it a little bit further. Whereas, I think serious live action lends itself to personal connection on a human level. That's
I think that's where my door cut both ways by saying up in one direction for and again you only need the first few minutes, and 12 Angry Men in the other direction. These are it does all hinge around, strangely, not just the action. It's the not the method that you're going to have to tell the story, but the tone that you have to tell the story with sometimes too. It's a whole bunch of factors. In fact, there's no hard and fast rules, but there's a lot of factors that play in to go yay or nay. So Paul, can I ask the listeners, the watchers, the viewers, the people from the future, the people from the past, the people from right now, can I ask them something about our future episodes, if you don't mind? We did not rehearse this, so I'm about to go off script.
Okay, go for it. Yeah,
okay.
This will be interesting.
Well, I threw a little idea out of Paul there, and I want you all to give me your take on it before he has to buy into something that we'll both regret. I want to do a future episode on some random things, because I do like my random things. And one of the things you'll be hearing more about in the future, if we ever get round to it, is best submarine movies. It's a weird genre. It's a genre that tickled me. So watch out for that coming up. If you have any suggestions like that, I think we can have a bit of fun, Paul. So if anybody out there has got a weird subgenre, and let's not get too weird, or just something that you think, well, I wonder what the guys' take would be on what the good and the bad of this is, or even anything like that, please throw it in. We've been doing this for a few years now. We're going towards 300 videos at some stage, Paul, I think. So we've done a lot of stuff. Somebody commented today on a video from 2 years ago where we did a movie quiz on Alexa while balancing it between us. So we've tried some weird stuff, and the live format was an experiment for us, and we've been doing it for a while now. So I think, Paul, we're both ready to experiment even more with this live format. So if anybody has any good crazy ideas, let us know. If we can do them, we'll do them.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to. This is the other problem with live action or like live is that my camera decides that it doesn't. It's just focus on something else in the.
I don't have a graphic for Smug Alert. Paul's camera is worth it's like 10 times as much as the really crappy piece of stuff that I am using right now, and his picture quality is so much better. But mine cannot do anything but what it's doing right now, and that's its only advantage. It does one thing mediocrely. Paul, yours does many things, including this.
Yeah, it's mostly because I'm not using the actual like
The controller. Yeah.
Yeah, I just decided not to use it for some strange reason,
You're
and that screwed me. Yeah, like to emphasize what Patrick was saying, throw out your ideas that are a little bit more crazier and stuff like that you want to kind of see us kind of delve into. If you like, the question and answer one, I think was a really kind of cool one that we did, which is only works on the kind of live format and stuff like that. So if there's anything else that you think is kind of interesting on the live format, then give us a shout. Which is, I also, the submarine thing I'm interested in, because I want to know what the criteria of the submarine thing is, because can I include Fast and the Furious in that?
No, you cannot. I knew you were going to, before you even said it, my brain went, he's going to say Fast and the Furious 8. Yep. And I'm going to have to be the mean guy live on air and go, no.
Well,
but it does mean that we both get to complete our sets. As far as, if you've never seen Hunt for Red October or Das Boot or something, then we're going to have some fun. It's why this episode that we're talking about won't be out for a little while, because we've got to watch some submarine movies, folks.
Yeah.
We got to clear the decks, get stuff out of the way, watch some sub films. But yeah, and the point is less submarine, more trying some different things and some different styles. So I know you out there that have been giving us topics. You've been so good and so gracious and so helpful, and really do appreciate it. But we're both looking for a little bit of a mix-up, I think, now and again. Something that we know might go wrong. Something that's a little bit on the edge of will this work or will it not? So yeah, anything except doing a live call-in show. Because you just know. I know all of the people that know us. And you commenters, as much as I'd love to talk to you, I don't know how funny you would try and be live on air and just make us look stupid.
Yeah.
Live calling is just the most dangerous thing to do.
I wouldn't want to find out that, we are not as good at this as we think we are.
I really hope we're better than I think we are, because I have a pretty low bar.
Which is also there's like, this isn't also as far as you can suggest a movie though you want us to review live and discuss maybe some of the even more topics and stuff like that are ingrained in us, like things like that. If you want us to get our views on kind of specific movies and stuff like that, go for it, suggest it out. I do want to say as a shout out, because we got a shout out on Tuesday from them. We have friends over at Homebrew Quest. They're a D&D animated, or a D&D, not an animated. They're a D&D game channel, that I'm a part of. But
I was about to say, do you want me to do the shout out, because we don't have friends over there. I have a friend over there. I have friends over there, because he's one of them. But yeah, everybody. It's D&D. It's not animated, as much as Paul wants them to go fully animated now.
Oh man, it'd be great.
It's Dungeons and Dragons and drinks. It's very cool. It's Irish themed. It's alcohol themed. It's a bunch of really creative people being really creative. Paul, you can hit people with the schedule. I think last time I said there would be details in the description down below that you were going to add. I don't know if you did. Definitely do it this time.
I'll definitely do it. It's every second Tuesday. So it was this Tuesday, so it'll be in 2 weeks' time.
There you go.
I think it's the 20th.
So Homebrew. What's the best search to find them on Twitch?
Homebrew Quest. They're on YouTube. Homebrew Quest. Which they gave us they gave us they're going to give us a open thing to shout out our show. So I thought
nice, very cool. No, we'll always happily shout out our friends. In which case, I would also like to point out, and you've all been missing him, one of our most consistent viewers for 3 years, watched our first show. Brew isn't with us right now. But I know he's going to watch this again another time and probably say funny things. Brew is our musical maven. He knows everything there is. If you can find him on Twitter, if he wants to be found, he is the man to follow and the man to listen to. I know he's sent a lot of people our way. We have so many amazing people. Ethan, I'm not even going to pump whatever you're doing because you're doing so much. Follow our socials and you will see us following what Ethan's doing, writing brilliant articles about Disney and Disney Plus in general. Also doing various YouTube stuff. We've got a lot of very talented people following us, and I think as far as it goes, you can go and see Paul do something very, very different. I'm personally going to join your next one and just sit there typing, "Why isn't this animated?" That's going to be my comment the entire time. Paul said this would be animated.
That would be hard. That would be really...
I'm going to tell the rest of them what you've done.
Oh dear. Could you make an animated episode on here?
You know what? That's an interesting challenge. Leave that with me. I think we might actually be able to do something on this. In a very weird way. I'll tell you after.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm interested now. I'm intrigued. But so thank you very much. I'm going to try and walk us out.
Please do.
Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell. You know, you've all been great and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out. So thanks very much. Bye.
And I have the button to turn it off. See y'all soon.